Warning, we're a no jargon, non technical, non blokey channel that uses 40 years of motor industry experience to inform, educate, and hold your hand in everything cars. Hi, and welcome to
Hi.
You Drive. And in this episode, we're talking about women motorists and whether they get a raw deal when buying, leasing, or maintaining their car. So, Tom, we're going to start this episode with 3 quick questions. And you're only allowed to say yes, no, or potentially maybe.
Okay.
And all the questions relate to purely women motorists and their experience in buying, leasing, and maintaining a car.
Okay.
So, first question: in your experience, are most women comfortable dealing with like salesmen or salespeople or mechanics?
Generally, no. Some are generally no, though.
Okay. And are women likely to get a different deal than, say, a male motorist?
I would say generally yes, based on an assumed lack of knowledge, perhaps.
Okay, fair enough. And question 3, I have my own opinion on this, but in your opinion, are women treated differently, or women motorists treated differently than male motorists?
Yes. Yeah. So just on that subject, Elaine, what would your opinion be? Although you have got a lot of motor trade experience, but I presume that you've experienced the first kind of point of contact and how those people treat you or handle you. What's your experience?
Yeah, so in my opinion, I would say women definitely get treated differently.
Mhm.
Um, I think a lot of kind of male staff in terms of mechanics or salespeople, they tend to assume that women don't really understand cars and deals and things like that. So you do get spoken to differently. I mean, I can give you a couple of examples really quickly.
Go for it.
One of which was actually a mechanic, and I was told my car had some quite expensive work that needed to be done. So I asked them to leave the car on the ramp so I could actually have a look at what they were referring to. And by the time I got back to the garage, they'd actually taken my car off the ramps. So I did actually ask the mechanic to put it back on the ramps and like let me have a look, because otherwise I just felt like they were trying to bamboozle me
Mhm.
with jargon and technical words and things, and thinking, oh, she's never going to know anyway. She doesn't understand, you know, what parts of the manifold is on an exhaust and stuff like that. So I did feel like they were kind of trying to bamboozle me.
Mhm. Yeah.
The second one was actually in a really well-known franchise dealer, and the salesperson was looking at a deal for me. I knew what deal I could get, and I was determined to get that deal. I didn't want to pay more than what I had to. And the salesperson was just so rude and so arrogant that when the way he spoke to me was like, well, why don't you take this car here? Well, I don't want that car. I want this model here.
Mm.
Well, you can't afford that model. You need to find a car that you can afford. And I was like, well, I can afford it at the right deal. I'm just not paying £200 more
Sure.
through you than elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it kind of made it, I can imagine women feeling quite vulnerable.
Mhm.
And it's quite difficult to know actually whether you are, I hate to say this, like being ripped off. But fortunately, I do know a lot about finance and buying cars and maintenance of cars. So I
Yeah.
have the confidence to challenge what I'm being told, and also to walk away if I don't believe I'm getting a good deal.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the things this channel hopefully will help motorists with, is to give them the knowledge. Knowledge is confidence. It's not power as such, but it just gives you the confidence.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think if this channel gives people information, and that information gives them the confidence to challenge and question things, then that's ultimately what we're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, in my experience in many years, sort of sales training with motor manufacturers, it has been taught that salespeople should study body language to see whether someone coming in the showroom is confident, knowledgeable, and whether they feel that they can use that advantage, that knowledge advantage, that jargon advantage. Because as you know, it's a very blokey industry,
Yeah.
and it's full of jargon, and they expect then women to sort of just sit back and accept what they say. And to be honest with you, it's not just women. I mean, there
Yeah.
are guys out there that they're just not car people. They're just not interested in cars. They don't follow car shows like this. They have no interest at all. And they too would go in with a very kind of maybe subservient body language. And the salespeople will pick up on that and then try and use that to their advantage. And that certainly happens. And that has been taught over the years within sales training of dealer staff. Unfortunately, we love dealers to bits, but there are people within dealerships that still don't treat everybody equally and fairly.
Yeah.
So your experiences are quite common, and as you know from some of the people that we deal with in our business, a business that is related to people buying or leasing cars, we've had conversations with women customers that would have said that they would like to take us to the showroom with them to help them and hold their hand. So
Yeah.
we've got some services coming up, haven't we, that we're going to launch fairly soon.
We have.
That will help people, not just women. And just to come back on that, I think you originally had the idea of this U-Drive channel to be specifically for women, and we kind of went along with that and decided that's what it was going to be, a motoring channel specifically for information advice to women. But I think it's going to be equally useful to the guys that have no interest in cars, but would just like that extra bit of knowledge to use when they're in a negotiation or a buying situation, or even a servicing situation.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same. I mean, ultimately, I wanted this to be like a safe space for women to be able to feel comfortable
Absolutely.
about asking questions, finding out information in a very relaxed, easy manner. We're not, obviously we're professional in terms of what we do on a day-to-day basis, but we're just here as normal people, just trying to help educate people for them to understand, the buying process, maintenance process, and things like that. So predominantly, yes, it has been set up for women, but the information on here is also relevant and will be relevant to a lot of men. Like you say, not everyone's
Absolutely.
really geeky.
Yeah.
And also, just really interestingly, I mean, women make up nearly 50% of all the motorists now. Things have changed.
Yeah,
and
that's huge.
It's a huge number.
Yeah.
And I think I would like to say, I mean, not every dealership treats women, in a bad way. So we're not saying here that, every dealership you're going to walk into, you're going to be treated this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that there are circumstances where it is very, very male dominated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is quite tough negotiating deals as a woman.
Yeah.
So just want to put it out there that not all dealers. I've had some dealers actually treat me really respectfully and extremely well. And I never walk into a dealer or a kind of a garage to tell people what I do,
what your background is and what you know. Yeah.
Normal person. To be treated as a normal person. So,
but don't you find when you do that and you start hearing the jargon and they start telling you things that are not actually true, it kind of just affects that relationship you have with that salesperson, doesn't it? Because
definitely
what he's telling you is not true, and he's telling you that purely because you're a woman and you're vulnerable, or he assumes you don't have the knowledge. So I think dealers have now got to move on. As you rightly said, women motorists account for 50% of the motoring population. So dealers need to wake up, have more female sales staff in their showroom, and come together to treat women equally and as fairly as they do with men. That the salespeople are going to be in a situation we're going to try and build rapport with the customers, and if it's male, it's probably slightly easier for them to do because they can have a bit of banter about football and all things cars, and they'll assume the guys know a bit about it or they're equally as interested. But when it comes to women, it's a lot harder for them to build rapport, and I think the way they can do that is to talk to them in a way that doesn't make them feel intimidated or subservient in any way.
So just going back to the services that we're offering, the first one, the Ask Elaine service, just to let our viewers know, I mean, this is a totally free service. You can basically ask any questions you want. No question's a stupid question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. And also, if your question is being asked by quite a lot of our viewers, then it actually may feature in future videos
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
blogs that we write as
Yeah.
well. So if you've got any questions about buying a car, leasing, selling, maintenance, service, all the add-ons dealers offer you, they tend
Yeah.
to offer a host of add-ons, which can be quite overwhelming. So if you've got any questions, you can email in. If you visit our website, there's an Ask Elaine service there. It's completely free of charge. And we hope to actually respond to every email within about 72 hours. So that's completely free. So Tom, perhaps you can tell us about the other services that we're going to offer as well.
Yeah, sure. So the second service is called Deal Checker. And it's a very simple service that allows you to submit the details of a deal that you've been offered by your motor dealer or indeed a leasing company. So that could include the price they're selling the car for, the value they're giving you for your part exchange, the cost of the accessories and insurances, the finance, the warranty. So we'll take a look at each aspect of that and we'll check to see whether it's up there amongst the best in the market. And we'll come back to you with some recommendations, and hopefully you can save quite a bit of money that way. Because as you're probably aware, you probably understand that dealers have to make a fair bit of money out of the extra services and products that they sell. Because when they give you a car discount, they need to try and make that up in some way by selling you other bits and pieces. So Deal Checker.
So just to interrupt, Tom, sorry. Just I wanted to just quickly interject there. Because that service sounds really quite easy and quite kind of simple, but just to give our viewers an indication of the type of money that can be saved here, I mean, just looking at one area, so the add-ons, things like gap insurance, scratch and dent insurance, alloy wheel insurance, added to a finance agreement. Often the dealers are presumptive with adding these insurances on. They add it to your finance agreement and say, great news, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer, you know, it's only £25 a month more on your finance, but you've got this added in as well. But actually, when you look at the cost of those extra add-ons added onto the finance, you're paying interest on the actual add-ons as well. So actually, by taking these add-ons off the finance, sourcing them independently and getting a good policy at a really good price can actually save people hundreds of pounds. We're not talking about the £10 or £15 saving here, are we? We're actually talking about hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point, which brings me on to another kind of tip, really. And we'll put some more information out on this on other future videos. But, you know, if you had, for example, a gap insurance and a tyre and alloy wheel insurance added to your car invoice and that goes on to the finance plan, you're going to pay interest, as Elaine rightly says. But later on, further on down the road, if you wanted to cancel those policies halfway through your ownership period, for example, you're still going to be paying interest because you can't change the finance agreement. So that stays. You get a pro rata refund potentially on the premiums, but you'll still be paying interest on the full period over that finance agreement. So there's a lot this deal checking service can do for you. At the moment, we're thinking about charging sort of $14.99, and the only reason we're charging, because this channel is free generally. Deal checking, as you can probably imagine, is going to take some time for us to sit down and look at every aspect of your order or the offer that you've been made. So we'll do that, and we'll come back to you by email with some suggestions, and hopefully you'll save a great deal more than the $14.99 that service is likely to cost. It's not confirmed yet, but that's what we're thinking. Just the cost of our time, really.
Yeah. And the third service, that was the negotiator.
Yeah, I touched on a bit earlier about a couple of female customers that we have and we've known for many years that have called in to say, you know, I'm in the process of buying a new car. What do you think of this discount I've been given? What do you think of the part exchange price? Is the APR fair? What are these other extras that the dealers added to the invoice? And overall, they're fairly happy with the deal, but it could potentially be better. So we're going to do a negotiator service. So people that take that up will appoint us as their negotiator. We will approach the dealer and talk to them about that offer, and we will look at every aspect of that offer to see where we think we can get a saving. And it might well be that some of those add-ons that they've offered you, you'll need to buy elsewhere cheaper, but we'll deal with that for you. We'll try and get the best deal we can with the dealer, but if we can't get it with the dealer, then we'll just suggest to you that you find those particular products elsewhere. So we're not actually going to go to the showroom with you, unfortunately. That wouldn't be practical, but we will do that over the phone with you or by email with you. The cost of that's probably going to be $24.99, something of that region, because obviously there's a great deal more work involved in not only checking the deal, but talking to your dealership on your behalf. Lots of people have brokers acting for them with mortgages, with insurances, and such like. And here you can have a negotiator acting on your behalf to save you money, which is what this channel is all about. Most of this channel is free. All of the information that we give you is entirely free. And if you can remember it and put it together, you may not need the deal checker, you may not need the negotiator. But if you want an easy life and have those two things done for you, then just check out those two services on the udrive.net website.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes as well, it's just having a second opinion that gives you that kind of peace of mind and confidence that you've got yourself the best deal, and you can kind of go and buy the vehicle knowing that you saved every penny that you can. Because buying a car is an expensive purchase. It's
Absolutely.
the second biggest purchase, apart from obviously like a house.
Yeah.
So it's expensive. And, if you're paying over the odds to begin with, when you go to trade in your car, especially if you go to trade in earlier, then you're going to be definitely financially impacted. So yeah, it's just to give you that kind of second opinion, isn't it?
So if you've got that offer and you're looking at it and you're just not quite sure whether it's a good offer, then you've got two people here with, I've got over 40 years experience in the industry. Elaine's got over 25. So together we've got an awful lot of knowledge, awful lot of contacts. We can just hopefully fine tune that deal for you to ensure you've got the best deal possible. So that's the service that are coming up.
Yeah, lovely. And we hope this video helps. And please like and subscribe our channels. It really does help us. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon.
udrive.net, EWEDRIVE.net. Check us out. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any car questions, experiences, or deals you'd like to share, just drop us a line by email.